And so what we did is we chose 3 of those plants. So it was a long process of how we came up with those 3 plants, but we then were able to manufacture that product to the high degree of quality every time. We manufacture them individually, we have a controlled process, we have a chemical analysis, and we have a biological release as well. So if it fails the chemical analysis, which is a fingerprint, or it fails the biological release, it doesn't go forward. Now sometimes they do fail. Now what we don't want to do is chuck all our plants away. So what we do is we took I suppose a nod from the wine industry, and we tend to blend from year to year. So our fingerprint has the same characteristics year on, year out. By doing that, we were able to standardize our product, take it through safety studies, and then demonstrate efficacy in efficacy studies. And we showed that each of the plant had a different characteristic. Oh dear. What's happening now? Let's just, oh, look at that. I'll say bye-bye to that. I don't think I want that. There was a little movie going to come on there, but I don't want to risk it. So when I say we have to control the process, that really is right from the field, from sowing the plants in the first place to writing out detailed specifications for the farmers over a period of years. Remember, we're growing these plants not 6 months, 1, 2, these are 3-year growth cycles. So you have to really test the soil, control for the early growth, make sure they don't overwater. That's a big thing they do, because they like to get the per kilo weight when they sell it to you as high as possible, because that's what you buy it on, is a per kilo weight. If they overwater, then all your chemicals go down. So you fail your specification right at the start. So you have to control all those processes, and we actually did all our specifications in Chinese and in English. And then we have crop records, post-harvesting processing records, and storage and drying analysis, packaging. There's tons and tons of paperwork goes with this. And then we take it through GMP manufacture, which is good manufacturing process. And the stages are listed there. You have a decoction, an extraction, a spray drying, a blending, a sachaying, and a packaging. And each of those stages has mountains of paperwork as well. So there's a lot of work goes into this. And in the end, hopefully, you still want to try and make some money and to have a product that works. Just show you the sort of in vitro work that we did. This is part of our release. What we did is we showed that Rehmannia was actually anti-allergic. We didn't know that at the time, but we found that the key plant in all this eczema treatment was Rehmannia, and it showed really good anti-allergic activity. The other 2 plants didn't show any anti-allergic activity. And we then looked at peony, and peony showed very good anti-inflammatory activity, but didn't really show that much anti-allergic. So each plant has a different role. Very necessary. You need an anti-allergic, you need an anti-inflammatory. And then we looked at the third one, which was glycyrrhiza, and we found that was a very powerful antioxidant. Very important again in eczema. And then something else interesting happened when we looked at glycyrrhiza. We found that when we combined them together, whenever glycyrrhiza was present, the absorption went up dramatically in the body. And you can see that there. And this actually provided an explanation that the Chinese were calling Rehmannia the emperor, peony the minister, and glycyrrhiza the guide. And we didn't understand what the guide meant. We could gather emperor and minister, but not the guide. And the guide, the explanation came when it was increasing the absorption. So it seems that it's guiding the molecule to the site. Well, that's our modern interpretation of it anyway. So finally, we then took it into clinical trials. This was a big study with 120 dogs in Europe, UK and France, randomly allocated to receive placebo or active different doses. And what we found was that the eczema in these dogs was dramatically improved with the treatment, and the placebo actually made things worse. If you compare that to the sort of standard pharmaceutical therapy, you can see that we were getting a 30% reduction in eczema score, whereas cyclosporin and methylprednisolone, really heavy-duty medicines, really achieving 40%. Admittedly, slightly better, but you get heavy-duty side effects with heavy-duty medicines. We had very, very good safety profile with our product. Still do. It was licensed to Schering-Plough. It was the first Chinese herbal medicine that had been licensed to a pharmaceutical company. And as I said, we actually took it through as a food product in the end, although all our early development was actually as a pharmaceutical. So we did do the switch a bit later. And they did a great campaign, and it's sold now throughout Europe. So going back to the question, regulation, education, well, there has to be regulation. I've gone through briefly all the different component parts, and if you don't regulate that, you need to do it. If you don't do it, you don't have the quality product at the end. You don't have the safety, you don't have the efficacy, so you need to regulate. Is the regulation correct at the moment for complex mixtures? I don't think it is. I think there does need to be work on this, but it is so complex that you can see why the regulators are struggling with it. So I understand why they are dragging their feet in some aspects of the regulatory process. You do need education. You have to engage lots of stakeholders in the whole supply chain, and that involves education right the way down the line, because you need to tell the farmers don't overwater, you need to educate them, you need to make sure that they don't put heavy metals and pesticides on the plants, and you need to educate the manufacturers that you want a particular specification every time, right the way through to selling it on the market. And with that, I think I can close, and I apologise for damaging your eyes with that awful text. Thank you very much.